Good. So welcome back to this section of HSS 219. In this section, we are looking at the geopolitical importance of Lagos to livelihoods and urbanization in Lagos. How has the geopolitical significance or factor in Lagos actually affected urbanization in Lagos, population explosion, infrastructure development, and the likes. Historically, we have noted that cities have always developed and evolved as vehicles for socioeconomic interactions, all right, for growth, for social change. We have seen that through quite a number of conceptualizations we did in our HSS 121 class in the last session, because the lives and livelihoods of people, millions of people, are usually constructed and affected and modified by what is done in cities. All right, whether in terms of livelihoods, in terms of opportunities, and all of that. And we have also noted that the city of Lagos had always been an Eldorado, all right, to the period to people even prior to the period of European colonization. And the enduring factor had always been the geographical location of the city, which started as an island, a pepper farm, with proximity to the Atlantic, the seaport, as the most important route, that connects the sea to the hinterland. We have looked at the geostrategic importance of Lagos, especially the aquatic factor, in the development of Lagos, and how that is shaping development, modernization, and now urbanization in Lagos. In our previous section also, and which we are still going to do, we have noted that Lagos is fast becoming a global city, a place people visit for curiosity, and the vibes as much as for business and family. Lagos is one of the is highly cosmopolitan in nature, and the mesmerizing energy and intensity it generates have to be experienced than to be understood. All right, so it is in this context that several scholars, development practitioners, and even intelligentias and even administrators have conceptualized and also contextualized Lagos in different perspectives. All right, and we're going to look at each of them and connect it to some of the overarching thrusts of our class today. All right, for instance, it was Professor Christine Mann, a notable expert in Lagos history, from University of Emory, who conceptualized Lagos as a flourishing slave port, and that was in the context of the role that Lagos played in the transatlantic slave trade and also the legitimate trade up to the 19th century. Professor Ayodeji Olukoju, in his contextualization, also conceptualized Lagos as the Liverpool of West Africa. All right, I spoke about the cosmopolitan nature of Lagos. All right, Governor Raji Fashola, a former governor of Lagos, already described Lagos as a model mega city. All right, and going by Daniel Aldrin's conceptualization, Lagos is a city which inspires and terrifies visitors. Lagos offers a glimpse of how other cities will look like in the future, according to Kem Kulas. And in my own understanding, Lagos is defined as a culture, a state, a geographical core, an open society around which identities, boundaries, and definition of purpose have shifted and have been adjusted for several centuries. All right. In my own understanding, I also discuss Lagos as a social entity, all right, which embraces and accommodates a wide range of people who cannot in any historical context be described as Lagosians. All right. Lagos also, as I've mentioned, is a kaleidoscope of cultural expressions, all right, and innovations. It is the melting pot of several civilizations, ideologies, manifestations and expressions. All right, so in terms of diversity, Lagos is one of the center in West Africa which exhumes all kinds of diversity, and also which reflects inclusion in every sense of it. It is in this context also that K. Whiteman, a former British colonial administrator, conceptualized Lagos in his book. Lagos, a city of he said Lagos is a city of imagination and a place of innumerable opportunities. And in the context, when you look at Lagos in the context of these concepts which I've already highlighted, you will see that the continual of these conceptualizations actually reflects in the day-to-day manifestations that you see in Lagos. The city of Lagos, no doubt, has grown phenomenally from a pepper farm to a mega city. Despite this remarkable growth and enviable status, livelihoods in Lagos in the past and in the present shares similarities. That's the point we're trying to say. So let's look at the geopolitical significance of Lagos historically and how that actually affects urbanization and even infrastructural development. Historically, the port of Lagos, the port city of Lagos, regarded as the Liverpool of West Africa by Professor Olukoju, has served both Europeans and even post-colonial and Nigerian states in different dimensions. So the context of the British interest in West Africa, Lagos served Britain in strategic capacity in the course of the 19th and the 20th century. It served as a base to campaign against, for instance, the abolition of the slave trade by Britain when the Europeans were struggling for the colonial acquisition of West Africa in the 19th century. The activities of the British, especially in prosecuting the slave trade, actually centered on Lagos during the period, and even with the transition to the legitimate trade, Lagos was the hotspot of this commodity produce trade in the 19th century. Lagos served Britain as strategic base also to outmaneuver other European states in their quest for acquisition of today's Nigeria. All right, as France was lobbying Germany and all the other European powers, it served Britain as a strategic base in a way to penetrate into the interior and also monopolize most of these entities. So after colonialism, Lagos served as a base for the European exploration and exploitation of the resources of what later became known as the Nigerian state, in the interest of the British and other European powers. It was the ports between the Nigerian hinterland and the global foreland for Nigerian goods and services during the colonial period, for all the agricultural commodity produce trade coming from the interior, coming from the interior to Lagos. The port city serve as a center in the trade in commodity produce in colonial Lagos. All right, and it is in this context that also during the 2 decades, the 2 global wars, when exigencies of war necessitated the diversion of British trade from North to South Atlantic, Lagos was among the crucial locations for the protection of British and Allies trade, as well as the dispatch of indispensable logistics to Britain during this period. So to enable Lagos perform its strategic role, Britain had to formulate and implement policies, for instance, which elicited the responses of the people and also vested interest in Lagos, as well as British reactions to the people's responses. So we're looking at all of this. The strategic significance of Lagos to Britain transcended the colonial period. It went beyond the colonial period. As after the colonial period, Lagos also continues to play key role in the British interest or geopolitical interest in West Africa. British geopolitical interest made her to attempt to hold on to Lagos through the conclusion of a defense pact with Nigeria, which gave Britain staging facility over Lagos. Of course, we also demonstrate in the course of this semester how the geopolitical significance of Lagos also went beyond the colonial period. Of course, it remained both the political and economic capital of Nigeria until the Federal Capital Territory was moved to Abuja in the post-colonial period. All right. So Lagos since has remained the economic capital since the colonial period, even in the post-colonial era, Lagos remained the economic capital of the Nigerian state. For instance, Lagos generates about the largest chunk of the the non-oil revenue for the Nigerian state, both through custom and excise dues, tax, and the value added tax. It generates about 400 billion as of June 2023 in revenue, which dwarf what about 10 states put together in Nigeria would probably imagine. All right, so with a GDP, for instance, of about 41 trillion in recent estimation, Lagos ranks 7th in Africa in terms of the GDP of other global cities. So Lagos, for instance, the reason for all of this is not far-fetched. Lagos houses one of the largest and the busiest seaports on the continent, which is also a significant factor in the capital formation that Lagos generates among other cities. Apart from its mega city status, Lagos is a major commercial and financial center. We've seen it is the hub of economic activities, industrial activities in Lagos, which propels capital formation and economic development. The port of Lagos, for instance, handles the largest proportion of Nigeria's maritime trade. All right, and it is the home to most of the industries in the country. Although now this is actually being affected by quite a number of factors, the cost of of doing business in Lagos, which is propelling several companies to relocate elsewhere, especially to Ogun State. All right. So apart from its mega city status, Lagos is a major commercial and financial center, which I've mentioned. All right. So its port handles most of the major commercial activities, whether import and export trade, and this has a lot of implication for the country's international economic relations. So you can see the geostrategic importance of Lagos. On the economic side also, Lagos is being the heartbeat of transnational business, corporations, and foreign direct investment. Even right from the pre-colonial period, the period of the slave trade, most of the European firms which operated in West Africa had their forts, their offices headquartered in the port city, all right, and which actually continue to shape the future realities, the development of Lagos in the post-colonial period. Apart from the economy, all right, Lagos is the center of popular culture. It is the center of gravity in terms of manifestation of Western modernity, Western cultures and manifestations, in terms of language, in terms of fashion, in terms of entertainment, Nollywood and all of the stuff. So Lagos, continues to drive major development, in the entertainment industry and all of that. So it's a city in which, before which livelihoods before colonial episode was largely informal, and dictated by the environment, such as fishing activities, palm wine tapping, salt making, boat building. All of these has actually transformed, into a very mega outlet, in the post-colonial period, with Lagos becoming the center of gravity of social and political activities in Nigeria. What about in terms of urbanization? Urbanization, the geopolitical significance of Lagos to Nigeria has brought untold stress, and strains to the port city. In spite of its contribution, in spite of this geopolitical importance, to economic development, as we have seen, to capital formation, all right, and all of that, it has its own negative effect. The geopolitical factor of Lagos to Nigeria and to West Africa generally has brought untold stress and strains on the port city. Among such are the disproportionate stretch of its limited facilities, such as the health, the housing, transportation, without a commensurate assistance basically from Nigeria, the Nigerian state. So byproduct of this geopolitical importance include exponential increase in population, environmental pollution, crime, the proliferation of shanties, and even slums areas, in the city as a result of, the fact that many people want to come to Lagos, many people want to relocate to Lagos. It's a cosmopolitan city. So the rapid growth of population had significant effects on the development of the city and our neighborhood. All right, a critical look at the population of Lagos, from the 1870s would show that Lagos, the demography has actually increased, geometrically, in an unbridled manner since the 20th century. For instance, in 1871, the population of Lagos was 28,518. In 1931, the population of Lagos was 126,108. In 1963, Lagos had a population of 1.4 million people, and 3.5 in 1975, 3.8 in 1978, 4.13 population in 1979. By 1985, the population of Lagos was 5.8 million people. By 1990, Lagos had a population of 7.7 million. And 1995, the population grew to 10.28 million people. By 2000, the population of Lagos was 13.42 million people. 2006, it was 17.55 million people. By 2016, the population had actually increased, to 17.55. Okay, 2016, it was 21 million people. And recently, the population of Lagos can be estimated to be, in the region of 23 million, the least. And what are the factors driving the population surge in Lagos? So this is a critical point to note. What are the factors driving the population surge in Lagos? Of course, these factors are quite historical. They are not just contemporary issues, problems in the Nigerian states that actually contribute, as we have seen from the data, from a figure of 28,000 people in 1871. All right, you've seen the geometric proportion, in which this population has actually been increasing. So the critical factor, when we look at the factors driving this population growth, historically, we cannot attribute it to SARP in the 1980s or to Jackpot syndrome in the 2020s and all of that. We have to look back in history, all right, because it is important for historical precedent and antecedent to guide our historical conclusions and judgment. All right, it should be underlined that between the 19th century and the 20th centuries, Lagos witnessed a series of influxes that altered the very foundation of its existence, and also contributed to the colonial government's difficulty in dealing with the outbreak of disease, in dealing with in managing the resources, in terms of providing or maintaining the available infrastructure in Lagos. During the 19th century, for instance, Lagos enjoyed relative peace and progress, compared to other areas, in the interior that are ravaged by wars and political instabilities. All right, local warfares and instability in the interior throughout the 19th century led to the flight of thousands of people, many of whom made their way as far as Lagos, and resettled in Lagos. This was the background to the population increase in Lagos. Of course, there was the aftermath of the Fulani Jihad in 1804 to 1810, the Usman and Fodio Jihad and its attendant civil war in Yoruba land, which further necessitated the displacement of thousands of people from their homes in the hinterland, and pushed them to seek refuge in Lagos. In 1862, the state of Ijayi, for instance, collapsed, and its people were forced to find a home elsewhere, and many of these people relocated no other place than to Lagos. In 1867, there was a great upheaval crisis in Abeokuta, the expulsion of the missionaries and the Christian converts, that was known in local palace as the Ifole riots. All of these factors contributed to emigration, to the movement of people out of their main abode, to seeking refuge in Lagos. As a result of all of these factors, many people, particularly the Egba in the 19th century, sought shelter in Lagos. They were resettled by Governor G.H. Glover, for instance, in the Butemeta on the mainland, specifically in the quarters popularly known as Ago Egba, the Egba camp, during the period. So the global economic meltdown in the 1890s also contributed to the influx of people to Lagos, people relocating to Lagos to gain employment among the European communities. In the 1930s, the Great Depression of the 1930s also resulted in a large influx of people from the interior into Lagos, densifying the city's population. And these are the historical precedents to the existential crisis of unbridled population that Lagos is confronting in the 21st century. The historian Christine Mann, for instance, has noted that in the 19th century, influential Lagosians swelled their household by offering hospitality and other forms of assistance to strangers migrating to Lagos in the 19th century. Many of these, according to Christine Mann, this influential elite obtained non-family labor by continuing to welcome wards and strangers into their households. And in addition, fugitive slaves from surrounding towns and later from further afield were also attracted to the city, and they were welcome and encouraged to settle by the colonial authorities. So many of these strangers survived initially by attracting themselves to the households of established residents, augmenting the labor supply available to their hosts, and also performing vital work in transportation, in trade, in commerce, and the likes. So this was actually the precursor to the demographic explosion that Lagos experienced beginning from the 20th century. All right, so the population continues to increase, and quite a lot of pressure is not only placed on the infrastructural facilities during the colonial period, and the situation is still the same even in the post-colonial era. All right, for instance, we have noted that the population growth in the metropolitan Lagos assumed a geometric proportion which does not commensurate with urban infrastructure in colonial housing, in housing provision in the colonial period. All right, and the same thing is still the reality in the contemporary era. Lagos, as we speak, accounts for about 5 million housing deficit, representing about 31% of the estimated national housing deficit as at 2018 thereabout. So you could see the disproportion, the gap, the lacuna in which this overstretch has actually created the development of Lagos. And let's highlight some of the major features, the interventions in a way to control most of this unbridled population in Lagos. What are the major interventions, initiatives in the past put in place, all right, in a way to understand how, of course, this is a topic we are still going to treat, exclusively, infrastructure development in Lagos, but in a way to, manage this, increasing population growth in Lagos. The Lagos Executive Development Board, between 1955 and 7, delivered about 4,502 housing units in a way to maintain social order in Lagos. Lagos Property Development Corporation, LSDPC, between 1972 was also able to deliver about 20,120 units of social housing, while about 1,818 housing units were delivered from 2000 to 2010. Okay, so despite these efforts by the various successive governments in Lagos, the houses provided, or the infrastructural provisions, all right, in terms of housing, could not support the teeming population in Lagos. As a result, Lagos residents are confronted with high cost of living, and subsequently this actually often results in proliferation of slums. The urban poor who are dominant in Lagos would probably transform most of the ungovernable space into slum settlements, creating social disorder, conflicts, with law enforcement agencies, and also all kinds of development also ensues in the process. So besides the number of destitutes, which has been on the increase in Lagos, in the recent times, another issue that Lagos has to deal with is the number of dispossessed, marginalized, people in the city as a result of the unbridled migration to Lagos. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, for instance, posted in 2023 that 63% of Nigerians are extremely poor as as of November 2022. So while a significant number of these poor people are probably spread across this Nigerian states, especially in the northern part, but a significant amount of people are also located in Lagos. As a result, Lagos city as unemployment continues to be affected by enormous employment deficit. All right, Lagos has an employment deficit. Its population of about 20 million people as a few years back, it's not proportional to the jobs available. All right, because of the increasing number of people who actually come to Lagos to look for opportunities, and it has several effects. Some of these people are fortunate enough to find gainful employment in the informal sectors, while quite a number of them will probably resort to other forms of livelihood, illicit livelihoods. All right. So despite the disproportionate rate between employment and demographics, Lagos State continues to witness a soaring rate in urban population growth than any other state in Nigeria, and indeed in sub-Saharan Africa. The massive rate of unemployment and underemployment is also indicative of the fact that Lagos has outstripped its industrial and resource capacity, and this is an established point. It has as a result of this unbridled population, Lagos has outstripped its industrial capacity and resource capacity. So it is difficult in Lagos for skilled and unskilled labor for everybody to be employed. As a matter of fact, however, the population continues to rise due to rural urban migration, which is actually precipitated by social disequilibrium in the rural areas in Nigeria, the conflict, insecurity, the banditry, the poverty, unemployment, and all of this continues to shape the demographic explosion. And we have seen the results of this. The manifestation of all of this in most cases has always been galloping inequality, increasing crime in the city. As a matter of fact, the rate of urban crime took a violent turn as the colonial and post-colonial states are incapable of meeting the needs of these people in terms of employment opportunities or other available infrastructure, and this has resulted to criminalities like theft, homicide, prostitution, robbery, rape, kidnapping, which historically threaten the peace and stability of Lagos. All right, pickpocketing, Yahoo plus, and these are some of the manifestations, and it has also contributed in the development of the growth of the proliferation of street gangs or youth gangs in Lagos, who also contribute their own nuisance value to the society. All right, since the colonial period. All right, in summary, we will say that the geopolitical importance of Lagos, the geopolitical or geostrategic factor in Lagos, continues to shape not only the political economy of Lagos, but also the social dimensions, all right, to the development of Lagos. All right, Lagos has been not just a cosmopolitan city, not just the hub of transnational cooperation, but in social realities also. Lagos also features quite a number of fascinating issues. The development of cultural, artistic. For instance, I mentioned about in terms of modernity, Western modernity. Lagos is basically the center of gravity, in the promotion and the expression of Western values, the culture, idiosyncrasies, and beliefs. And it is in this context that we'll take our further discussion in our next class, when we'll start looking at the foundation of Lagos as a political center of activities in the colonial period. So if you have further questions, we'll interrogate and entertain most of these questions in our subsequent class. Thank you very much.